Hey guys, this is Julie on the reel. Well, it's been a really rough year. My Bell's palsy has not cleared up, so see, been having to live like this for like a year now, or over a year. On top of that, I found out I have a really bad problem in my back, which is going to require surgery, and it cuts circulation off to my knees. So my knee bones died. So that's fun. The only reason I'm able to walk is because they put, I don't know, some kind of shots, injections in my knees. So since I'm able to walk without, crutches or anything, I am going to surprise my family and make a Thanksgiving dinner. I have not cooked in so long. I've been going through so much. So I'm going to try old recipes. I'm also going to try a bunch of new recipes, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I love apple pie. So I'm actually going to try a new recipe though, and hopefully it turns out really good. So it's 1 whole stick of butter. Let that melt. This is for the sauce for the apple pie. Alright, so get your butter melted, and then you are going to add 3 tablespoons of flour. Just whisk that up really, really good. I got it on a medium-high heat. Probably let that go for about 2 minutes. So it's been about 2 minutes, and then you're going to want to add a cup of sugar. Just kind of whisk that in there. It's a new recipe for me. I've never done this before, so bear with me.
Just so you know, Mom.
And then it says 1/4 of a cup of water. And then you want to mix that really, really well. And then you're going to let that cook for about 3 minutes. Okay, so it's been 3 minutes, and should look something like this. You're going to want to let this, set this aside and let it cool completely. And while you're letting it cool, you can go ahead and get your apples ready. So I've got about 7 apples cut up real thin. And then I'm going to add about 1/4 a cup of the brown sugar. And just like a dash of whole cloves. Whole cloves. It's actually ground cloves. And then we want a dash of ginger. And probably about a tablespoon of cinnamon. Get that in there real good. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of nutmeg. Thought I'd check that because it was open. And then just about say a teaspoon of the vanilla. And then you're going to add the mixture that you made. And we just add that mixture. Mix it up real good. Get all them spices to incorporate in there. I like my apple pie a little spicy. I add a little more extra stuff than most people. Alright. Now we're gonna do the pie crust.
Keep it going or pause?
Now we're doing the pie crust. You're gonna need about 2 cups of flour. Gonna add a little dash of salt. And because this is for apple pie, I like to add a little bit of cinnamon to my crust. Just kind of mix it all around. And then you're going to take your Crisco. Some people use butter. I don't. Just because it's the way my granny did it. About this much to start. Probably going to need more. And then basically all you do is just keep squishing it up into the flour. The goal is to get all of the flour to make like little beaded pea-size parts. Okay. And just keep mixing and squishing the flour and the grease together until you've got it all. You want it to look crumbly, basically. And you can always add if you didn't put enough the first time. So you want to make sure you get all the flour and the grease incorporated together. Makes for a nice flaky crust. And then once it starts to crumble, that's when you know, okay, getting it. Once you have all of your flour in a crumbly type texture, you're going to add very, very, very cold water. Some people use ice water. I just used cold water. See how crumbly that's looking? That's what you want. You want it to look crumbly. See? It makes for really, really good pie crust. And then you add about, I want to say 6 teaspoons of water, or tablespoons. And then you just start squishing it together till it starts to form a dough. You always add more water. Sometimes it calls for a little more. There you go. And once you have it all mushed together into a ball, then you'll get it rolled out and ready for your pie. Once you have your dough all ready, it is ready to roll out. Make sure you start with a clean surface. Add your flour, and then just roll out your dough. I always do like a circular motion. This rolling pin is such a great story how I got it. When I was young, in my 20s, I was trying to make some of my first pies. And we had a friend who made kitchen tables for a living. One day he came over and he saw me trying to roll out my pie with a baby bottle, because that's all I had. And I was at his workshop and I literally watched him take a piece of wood, I mean like a piece of tree really, and he just made this for me. It don't have no handles, but hey, ain't nobody complaining. It is wonderful. And it is heavy, and it could definitely knock someone out if you had to. So you just keep going till you get your pie crust all rolled out. Once you have it all rolled out, I just use a big spatula just to kind of pick it up. Here, slide my hand underneath it. And I already have a greased pie pan. I used Crisco to grease it. And just kind of set this on top. Push it on down. Get ready for your apples to go in it. I have the second pie crust ready to rock. Just kind of slide my hand under it. Here's my delicious apple pie. Put this on the top. A lot of people like to do designs and, you know, their own thing. I'm physically limited to what I can do, so I'm just doing the best that I can do. Sometimes I use little designs and stuff like that when I can. But for today, we're just gonna, you know, just kind of make it a simple pie. Nothing fancy this time. And then you just keep going like this all the way around the pie. Once you have your crust on, you're gonna just take an egg wash. I know you're supposed to have one of those little brushes, but I don't really know what happened to mine. And you just kind of want to just wash that on the top of it. So it'll be nice golden crust. Make sure you just kind of smooth it everywhere. Probably won't even need a full egg. Just spread that all around. This is the first time I've used this apple pie recipe. I have others that I normally stick to, but I wanted to try something new this year. So once you get all that brushed on there, don't forget to cut your little slits in it so it can vent really good. And then we'll take that. And as always, my lovely assistant, Emery, I could not do this without her. We're going to just put this in the oven. Push it all the way to the center. And let that cook for about 45 to 50 minutes. Thank you, Emery. And this is how my apple pie turned out. Yummy. It looks so delicious. Absolutely cannot wait to try it. So I've never made stuffing before, and I didn't realize you needed kind of like dried up cornbread, so I used the honey sweet cornbread, and then I just kind of tore it to pieces. I'm going to stick this in the oven to toast it up a bit. These are my vegetables. I got my Denver mix, which is bell pepper and onions, my celery. This will be for the broth, cream of chicken, and my idea for this was I was going to puree it. And I will let you know how it turns out. It's a work in progress. So I'm just going to puree this. So for my stuffing, I got 1 stick of butter, and I got 3 stalks of celery, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and then I have my bag of Denver mix, which is just the onions and bell peppers. I'm going to add a couple handfuls of that. About 3. And then just let this cook up. Till the veggies soften.
She already had a house.
You had,
I think I do.
and you got over.
I mean, I haven't gone.
So I'm going to add a little bit of salt.
You're already good.
See, and Wesley didn't have no music.
I have some Italian seasoning that I'm going to add.
With truck drivers is right now.
I'm going to add all of my rubbed sage.
Truck drivers short right now.
Yeah.
And then
Looks like it was about a tablespoon.
they did a survey, and it said
Some
if
oregano.
the company tried to force this upon you, 37% of the truck drivers said that
Some garlic powder.
they're not going to do it.
And you know, I bet a lot of them are just afraid of the needle.
And of course,
I bet they're
some
afraid of the
pepper.
needle. I mean,
And you think about
now, you can, they're
think about it
probably.
right now, just the way it is right now. How hard is, like, certain places that you go, you can't hardly find what you need. It's hard to get, like,
Nobody
hard.
stay away from
They
it.
just
So I have my cornbread.
The reason people leave the little states is because of the politics.
I'm going to add
They don't
my
want to be told that they
little vegetable mix.
told this and that. And that's why they're coming here. And I hope they don't try to bring politics here because
And this is the stuff that comes inside a turkey that I pureed, the neck
it's a
and
scary world that we're in.
gizzards and whatever was in that white bag. That's what this is.
Get it.
I'm new to this, so
You haven't had
never made it.
You're gonna have it real bad.
Smush that in there really good.
What, 8 months, 7 months, she was in the hospital with me.
And then I'm gonna...
At least
Everybody was using cream of chicken, but I like mushrooms, so... I'm gonna add cream of
it's
mushroom.
all over with now because April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I'm
That
done
all out.
for. My vaccine wears off.
Mix
It's
this
every 8
all
months
up
or
a little
what?
bit.
And you practice it, booster. So what's the whole point of it in the beginning?
And yeah, why?
And then I've got my chicken broth.
Because I didn't like the,
that.
I didn't like the beginning of it to start off with the way it made, what it did to me.
All the money that now you can't hear anybody talking.
Okay, this is it. It's ready to go in the oven. I'm going to cook it for about an hour, and we'll see how it turns out, because I have never made this before. Oh, and I only used probably about 2 cups of the broth instead of 3. So. And there it is. Oh boy. Okay, so I am making a dish called broccoli, rice, and cheese, which is going to be 12 cups of water, 6 cups of rice. Get my rice going. Once you have the rice all in, you want to give it a good stir. And then you just put your lid on it. You turn it down to simmer. And you let that simmer for exactly 20 minutes. I use 2.5 pounds of the frozen broccoli, and I just put it on a pot and just kind of let that simmer for just a few minutes, maybe like 5 to 7 minutes, which is going to go in the broccoli, rice, and cheese. I use 3 cans of cream of chicken soup and 3 cans of cream of mushroom soup, which I'm going to just pour them all into here and mix them there. And I use 2 of these packages of the Easy Melt cheese. And once the rice is done, we just literally mix all of this together. Alright, so I'm adding my first block of cheese. So it can get good and melty in there. Add about half of the soup. Now you add your broccoli. The rest of your soup. Now your other block of cheese. And then you just mix the devil out of it. And that is your pot of broccoli, rice, and cheese. And it is so yummy. Well, I finally made it to the finish line. After 8 hours, I'm done. It was a lot of hard work. I'm in a lot of pain. I probably won't be able to walk tomorrow, but it was worth it to see how happy my family was. The only problem, because of my Bell's palsy, I've completely lost my sense of taste and smell. So for anything new that I made, I have no idea. I have to go by what my family tells me. Hopefully it turns out good. I mean, it was unfortunate, the whole thing. I couldn't smell it. I couldn't taste it. But, you know, at least I'm loved, and I made the food with as much love as I could, and my family is going to enjoy it, I know. They're super excited. Thank you for watching.